Hello, today is June June 16th. This is the summary of the June 15th City Council meeting, 2009. Pretty quick meeting last night, only 2.5 hours after the 5.5 hour meeting last time. A couple issues I'm going to talk on. I'm going to talk about the process of appointing people to boards for the city and some discussion that came up. I'm also going to talk about the bridge over Cascade Creek and Highway 14 and some others. And in addition to that, I'm going to talk briefly about a campground on the south part of Rochester, and I'm going to kind of keep it to those issues. There wasn't a whole lot contentious at this particular city council meeting. We had 9 public hearings, but really only a couple of them had any real discussion. First of all, with regards to appointments to the Rochester Public Utility Boards, the way our city is set up is appointments are made by the mayor and then ratified by the city council. Now, the city council has just essentially been a rubber stamp for a long time on these appointments. Now, the particular person that's being appointed to RPU's board, Mr. Landwehr, is outstanding person, and I'm sure he would have stood up to any sort of scrutiny put on. But I have a fundamental problem with the fact that as a city, we're just taking these appointees that come to us. We don't even talk to them. We don't even ask them questions, and then we just appoint them blindly to these boards. And I think that there are a couple of boards in particular that we need a little bit more scrutiny on. I would particularly point to the RPU board, which is an enormous entity in and of itself. I mean, hundreds of millions of dollars in their facilities, and we're just blindly appointing people without even asking them some basic questions. And I do have some issues with where RPU's priorities have been in the past, so I do think there are some issues I want to see. We as the city council control the gate to who goes on those boards, and as such we control those boards and those entities, and the fact that we're willing to just blindly appoint somebody, it seems like the wrong way to do it. The council is interested. We're going to discuss whether or not we're going to continue to do this at a committee of the whole, but certainly for the RPU board and planning and zoning, I think that we have a duty to actually make sure that the people we're putting on these boards has the public interest in mind and not some potential conflicts of interest. And I think that as it pertains to RPU, I've created a long list of issues that I have with the way that RPU is handling their business right now, and it's my intent to get people on that board that share my views. And I certainly, if nothing else, I think we at least have the right to ask a couple questions. I don't like being a rubber stamp. I have no intention of being a rubber stamp, and as far as I'm concerned, the city council's been a rubber stamp for 20 years. I don't care. It shouldn't be now. It's not my city council. Next thing I want to talk about, we'll talk briefly about the Cascade Creek or the Cascade Park area. It's kind of a wetlands area that's going to be south of the RAC facilities, and that got kind of held up a little bit because there's the report that was written up had 2 access points, and Mr. Remick, who's donating the land or owns the land or whatnot, he doesn't want 2 access points because he's going to have a lot of people taking shortcuts through the Lord's property, and I 100% agree with him. He is absolutely correct. If we do have to have 2 access points, we need to do it in such a way that we're not going to get the through traffic through there. I think this is a minor detail. It's something we're all excited about, and we should see something coming forward. This should get worked out at the July 6th meeting. Next item up, I want to talk a little bit about what happened at a campground down south of town. Basically, we had a person, Mr. Ferguson, who decided that he was just going to do massive land moving up there without getting any sort of a permit. Now, he told us that the contractor told him he didn't need a permit. It's Pearson Excavating out of St. Charles was the culprit, apparently. But bottom line is, he screwed up really, really bad, and he really messed up the hillside up there. He's got enormous piles of dirt and rock around neighbors' properties. He's changed the runoff. He's added silt to the waterways. He covered up some fissures. He destroyed some Decorah edge. And now he's coming to us. He's going to be asking to put, the reason he did this in the first place is he wanted to expand the campground that he owns there. Well, a whole host of issues came up, and somehow apologies just don't cut it to me. Of course, he apologized to his neighbors at the meeting, but the reality is there's a number of things we're looking into. In particular, we have some reason to believe that there may have been some debris covered up there, and that debris may or may not include some refrigeration, air conditioning units, and if that's the case, that's going to have to be dug up or something. And we specifically requested at the July 6th meeting that he's going to come back to us with some documentation showing the proper disposal of the refrigeration and air conditioning units that were on his property. If he can't do that, I've got a whole host of issues coming up. The other thing he's done is he's obviously really screwed around with some shorelands ordinance stuff. He's adding more silt to waters already impaired for turbidity. Quite frankly, whatever credibility he has had in the past, he's got absolutely zero with me, and he needs to come back and show that this environmental waste was properly disposed of, and he's got to come back with a plan that is going to restore that property for the neighbors as best as can be done after this kind of reckless act happens in the first place. Until that happens, and even if that does happen, it's not a guarantee he's going to get his campground on there. But I'm not too happy with the way this went down, and I like to see this as a lesson learned for other people who may be considering to do the same thing. Let's see. I know this is real exciting having you look at my notes, but I just want to make sure I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover. I guess one other thing I will talk about is for 20-25 years we've been planning to eventually connect the Douglas Trail up out the bridge over Highway 14 to the Cascade recreation area that we're developing right now. It's going to be a wonderful connection. It's expensive, and what Mr. Ruska was correct in pointing out is that the funds that are going to this, they're funds that can only be used for this type of project. It's not like we could take this and use this money to offset some of the governor's cuts that are going to be announced today. It's this funding has to be used for these particular reasons, and this is an important project. I mean, it's an expensive bridge. It's going to be several $1 million to complete the project, but at the same time, this is a safe connection from the northwest neighborhoods of downtown, and that's a safe connection that does not exist right now. I brought up the point that on West Circle Drive, that trail is deadly. People have died. It's an unsafe trail. It's unsafe by design. It's poorly designed, poorly maintained. It's not plowed in the winter, and I think we're going to be able to do a lot better with this trail system. It's going to be used for commuters going to the northwest and to downtown, and also in the future this is very likely to be a transit route as well. I think it's I think it's something that's very important to the community. A lot of people don't care a thing about cyclists or pedestrian safety. They don't think it's part of the what the responsibilities are of a city. I completely disagree. I think it's very important, and while it's very expensive, it pales in comparison to what we spend in providing parking spots downtown. And I think that's an important thing to keep in mind. We're going to have a safe connection. We're going to have a wonderful trail system. It's going to be done. We're doing it right. We've looked at maintenance costs. It's an expensive project, but I'm happy to be supporting, and I can't wait for it to go up. And that's all I got for this week. So thanks for watching these. Feel free to send them around. If you need to get a hold of me, I'm going to be out on vacation until about July 4th. So I'll come back, hopefully in a little bit better mood. We'll see about that. If you have any questions, shoot me an email, and I'll make sure I'll get back to you on when I get back. Thanks.